It's hard to say what legislative action will be taken as both political parties have responded to the governor's request. The GOP saying that a red flag law is a non-starter with House Republicans. Meanwhile, Democrats called this a watered-down bill. When Representative Justin Pearson arrived in Nashville this morning and came to the podium, he asked all the lawmakers and public officials around it to take a step back and instead invited up his family, his friends, and people that came from Memphis this morning. That's because he says that he puts the people first, and this is a people first movement. So this protest essentially has dual purposes: to fight for red flag laws and to fight for the House lawmakers who are on their side. Do you want to talk to me for a second? So we're live on WSMV4 right now. This is someone that is here. Amelia Gould. Tell me, Amelia, why are you here today? And tell me about the sign that you have.
This is where homeless advocates and other individuals plan to march to tonight from Legislative Plaza. Their goal is to fight this new law. They even plan to get arrested if need be by sleeping out here tonight.
Two bills have already been signed into law. One that bans transgender minors from receiving gender-affirming care, and the other makes public drag performances illegal. That makes Tennessee the first state to criminalize drag. Both of these laws, the governor says, protect children. The state's Senate Judiciary Committee is set to discuss a controversial marriage bill today. Now, it would allow county clerks and officiants to refuse to perform marriage ceremonies based on their personal or religious beliefs.
12:02, and we were following breaking news. The Supreme Court confirmed that the leaked draft opinion to overturn Roe versus Wade is legitimate.
It has been 2 weeks since the devastating elementary school shooting in Texas. Since that tragedy, there are now new safety requirements for schools across Tennessee. Yesterday, Governor Lee signed an executive order hoping to lessen the chance of a school shooting.
Then is the suggestion that a victim of incest has the child of their perpetrator, of that person?
Yes, as I said, a person produced by rape or incest is almost human. They have constitutional rights.
Leaked audio is giving us a behind-the-scenes sense of how some Republicans feel about the expulsion hearings of these three Democrats. The conversation between GOP members was recorded, and that recording was obtained by the Tennessee Holler. It's clear that one Republican lawmaker was not happy about the decision to not expel Representative Gloria Johnson. Take a listen.
Sports are everything to me growing up. I played sports, every sport you can imagine at some point or another.
As a child, Jake Martino played in both high school and college sports before he transitioned.
When I imagine myself now, putting myself in the shoes of kids today, where their first encounter and understanding of transness may be hate speech, that's really really sad and can have really terrible effects.
Last year, a law passed in Tennessee only allowing students to compete in athletics by the gender listed on their original birth certificate.
Instead of it solving an issue that exists of inequality, this rather just is a paranoia move that just simply targets children that need our support.
The ACLU is currently suing the state over that measure. While being litigated, the legislature passed another law this year adding penalties for school districts that don't comply, taking away funding if they allow athletes to play on teams as the gender they identify as rather than their biological gender. This debate making waves on the Senate floor.
What has happened between the last year and this year that necessitates this legislation?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I don't know of a specific incident, but just felt like that the bill was passed, but there was no requirement for enforcement or no penalty for non-enforcement.
So why this kind of legislation?
Transgenders participating in women's sports will destroy women's sports. It will ruin the opportunity for girls to earn scholarships. It will put a glass ceiling back over women that hasn't been there and sometimes.
However, doctors with Vanderbilt say there's limited data in the gender diverse population, and it's hard to quantify advantage in sports. A pediatrician pointing out their transgender patients may have their earliest state of natal puberty blocked and never really see high levels of testosterone or estrogen in their bodies. So advantage could be a little bit of your genes and a little bit of how much you practice. Advocates say not only should schools let kids play without fear of penalty, they believe sports develop healthy physical and mental health habits that are important for growth.
It's definitely discrimination. And like I said, I think fear-mongering, because I think there's just a lot of people who aren't very familiar with trans people, and so it's an easy, perceived niche issue to make a stance about and scare people on.
Another new law will also go into effect on July 1st. The governor signing a collegiate transgender athlete bill for Tennessee. It would ban transgender athletes from participating specifically in women's college sports. The NCAA Board of Governors voted in January in support of a sport-by-sport approach to transgender participation that they say preserves opportunity for transgender student athletes while balancing fairness. Ryan Breslin, News 4 Nashville. Red Boiling Springs can best be described as small.
It's a sort of a sleepy town, very few problems.
We don't have a lot of industry here.
Big industry isn't apparent on Highway 52 as you drive through, but now there's a new sight to see.
They'll do some stuff with hay, but not that elaborate.
They're colorful, they're vibrant, they're just picture worthy.
A lot of people has asked me, are you sure you did not use a stencil? I said, I freehanded it. I said, the good Lord must have been with me to make it happen because I'm not an artist.
A larger-than-life tribute to President Trump rolled in hay, a spectacle on Adrian Powell's farm.
A lot of support from the locals that I didn't think that was here.
I think it's great. I think it's a little overkill, but that's fine. He wants to do.
George McCrary lives next door. While he's impressed by the artwork, it's fair to say he's still feeling blue.
And I wanted to say, in a big way, that I was a Biden fan. Now, it seemed to have stirred up the rest of them a little bit. So they have countered me with several Trump signs, but that's okay.
The friendly competition seeing problems over the weekend as Powell's flags were cut down the middle. He says the teenagers responsible have all apologized.
They got to learn that we do have to respect other people's property.
But there's still concern of what could come before the end of this election.
Everybody says it will go up in a smoke. If it don't, then I'll let the cows eat it.
One thing is true, no matter who they support, this small town still has each other's back.
We all still get along, we're all still neighbors, and that's the way it should be.